Hello everyone. Dr. Mungli here. So I am holding a nutrient dense root vegetable in my hand. So the amount of nutrient that you get by eating this root vegetable is immense. I'm going to explain you how much nutrient dense is this root vegetable is, which is called beetroot. So the beetroot, if you look at the outer skin of the beetroot, which kind of looks whitish as you see here, and that's generally because of the soil bacteria that are present over the skin here, and that's what gives beetroot earthy taste or a soil like flavor that you get when you eat a raw beetroot is because of the soil bacteria, which will synthesize and secrete a chemical called geosmin. And the geosmin, it smells like it tastes like earthy, and also it gives a soily like flavor, and also it is crunchy, right? And also the color that you see when you cut open the beetroot, the color that you see, and that's because of a pigment, and that is called betalains. And the betalains, which is a pigment which is giving beetroot its antioxidant property, anti-inflammatory property, and some sources says that it has anti-cancer property, like killing the cancerous cells, right? So that means beetroot, betalain in beetroot, that's an active ingredient, betalain. So that is the one that will give antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and even anti-cancer property to beetroot. So regular consumption of beetroot will provide you that required antioxidant capacity, right? And then beetroot is rich in something called as betaine. You got to remember the betaine. This is trimethylglycine. What this betaine does is, the betaine, it will lower homocysteine level. Homocysteine, it's a metabolic product of a molecule, amino acid in our body called methionine. When methionine undergoes metabolism as a metabolic product, we get homocysteine, and that homocysteine, we have a mechanism to take care of that homocysteine in our body. Homocysteine can be converted back into methionine, or it can be converted into cysteine, and it may go into other metabolic byproduct, eventually becoming glucose or acetyl-CoA. Anyway, so during this process of conversion of homocysteine back into methionine, we need something called as folate and vitamin B12. That is one process how homocysteine can be taken care in our cells. But the other way of taking care of conversion of homocysteine back into methionine, it is done by betaine. So that means when we have sufficient betaine, it will take care of decreasing homocysteine levels in our blood. And why it is important? So the decreasing homocysteine in our blood is important because excess homocysteine is an independent risk factor for our cardiovascular events and also cerebrovascular events. That means excess homocysteine may lead to increased clot formation, and also it may promote or aggravate atherosclerosis process, leading to cardiovascular events like heart attack or stroke. So in order to prevent all that, so if we consume sufficient amount of beetroot, which contains betaine, so that means it will take care of decreasing homocysteine levels in our blood and thereby preventing cardiovascular events. And then betaine also decreases the requirement of something called as choline in our liver, because choline, which is one of the essential nutrient for us, it will help in many methylation reactions, and that will generally take care of our liver detoxification process, and all the important processes that need to go on in our liver. Is one of the functions of that liver is requiring choline, and that choline requirement will be reduced if we have sufficient amount of betaine that we get from beetroot. So that's why beetroot helps in cleansing our liver. So for a liver health, beetroot is important. And then coming to nitrate content in the beetroot. Beetroot is one of the rich source of nitrate in our food. And what is the function of nitrate? When we consume nitrate in our mouth, by the bacteria present in the mouth, bacteria present in the saliva and in the oral mucosa, what happens to the nitrate present in the beetroot is nitrate is converted to nitrite, and this nitrate, when we swallow nitrite in the acidic media of our stomach, it will be converted into nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is a vasodilator. And what it does, it causes the vasodilatation. That means it widens the blood vessel and allow a rapid flow of blood. Basically, it will allow flow of blood into our tissues, and thereby it will improve our oxygenation of the tissues, and thereby increases the performance of the tissue. So the athletic performance also, it is helped by consuming sufficient amount of beetroot. That will provide us good amount of nitrate. In turn, it will provide a good amount of nitric oxide. Wherever you are expecting a vasodilatation process and also good circulatory process, you got to consume a beetroot, which is a good source of nitrate, eventually nitric oxide. So, and also note that good source of folate. And why folate is important? Of course, folate is there in most of the green leafy vegetable, but it comes with this, right? What is the importance of folate? Folate, it helps in erythropoiesis process. That means production of red blood cells in our bone marrow. So folate is also one of the important essential nutrient for our DNA formation, like DNA, RNA formation, where there is a requirement of purines and pyrimidines. In order to synthesize, the basic requirement of DNA synthesis is purines and pyrimidines, and those purines and pyrimidine synthesis will need folate, and beetroot also provides that folate. And another thing is, beetroot is a relatively good source of iron, because iron is required for multiple biological reactions in our body, including hemoglobin synthesis, right? Although it is not a rich source of iron, but it does have some amount of iron which will help in the process, right? So that means it will help to maintain good hemoglobin concentration in our red blood cell, thereby so energy levels of our body also improves. And the last but not the least thing, beetroot has a good amount of fiber, just like any other vegetable, right? And what is the importance of fiber? So fiber will help in it has soluble and insoluble fiber. That means it will help in defecation process. That means it will address constipation process, and also it is a food for our gut bacteria. And why it is important? So we got to take care of our bacteria in the gut, that is especially the good gut bacteria. So good gut bacteria, they thrive on the soluble fibers present in some of these vegetables, right? So it is important to consume a good amount of dietary fiber to take care of our gut bacteria. So in overall, beetroot is one of the energy-rich, energy-dense food that we all need to consume on daily basis, so that we get all the benefits, health benefits of this beetroot. Okay, so what I do personally is I consume ABC juice, that is apple, beetroot, carrot juice. I will make a separate video on that. Stay tuned and take care.